So good afternoon to all of you. Today we are discussing on wireless security. Myself, Neeraj Gupta, Assistant Director, possess MTech Computer Science from the Institute of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineers, Delhi. Masters in Electronics again from University of Delhi, and MBA in Operation Management from Indira Gandhi National Open University. So for wireless security, mostly, wireless security is needed to incorporate in WLAN. It is not necessary to implement in PAN, MAN, or LAN. Mostly, it is in WAN because once people can access WLAN on public domain, so there is a chance that your system may be compromised. So in WAN, maybe you are connected through Wi-Fi broadband modem, or your different peripherals like printer, your mobile are connected. So that may be compromised if you not implement proper security. So now we discuss about the characteristics. So wireless security, or you can say wireless network, poses there is a one standard IEEE 802.11, and it supports many features, and typically range up to 100 meter for hotspot application, and it can go up to miles with pointed Wi-Fi beams. Presently, two wireless RF frequencies are designated 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. So currently, the Wi-Fi modems, or you can say router or access points, are available in dual mode. So there is a flexibility that the older devices may connect on 2.4 gigahertz, and the newer one may connect on 5 gigahertz. The range of 5 gigahertz is more as compared to the 2.4 gigahertz. But major thing is that throughput rate is again vary from distance to distance. And these spectrum 2.4 and 5.8 gigahertz are exempted from licensing. Presently, all the laptop, phone, tablet, and the network infrastructure, especially home appliances like your washing machines, air conditions, are also, there is a Wi-Fi enabled, and many consumer electronics like microwave, or you can say some electric devices. Healthcare devices are also Wi-Fi support are available right now. So currently, in 2013, there is a Mobile World Congress has been held, namely GSMA, along with the Wireless Broadband Alliance WBA and Wi-Fi Alliance jointly agreed to include trusted Wi-Fi network. So many cellular operators have their own Wi-Fi network, and it is also an integral part of LT4G core. But problem is that once consumer wants to buy any equipment, or any service provider wants to buy any Wi-Fi enabled devices, the problem is that whether they are compliant or not as per IEEE 802.11 standard. So for this, these three, MWC, GSMA, WBA, and Wi-Fi Alliance may join this and decided to standardize the Wi-Fi standards. This Mobile World Congress of 2013 make a lay foundation of formation of third generation partnership project 3GPP, which is responsible to define the standards specifically for Wi-Fi in the range of 4G and 5G. So today, Wi-Fi is so much popular because there is no wire are required to connect together. So around more than 400 million people are connected to the internet through Wi-Fi in a single instance. So with time, people need changes, their way of thinking, their way of working, their way of purchasing the things are changes. So more people are involved in net banking, credit card payments, financial transactions as compared to the past. So an standardization is required, and as well as security also required. So to fulfill this, IEEE, it is an international body who defined the standard for Wi-Fi called 802.11. So this is a standard few Wi-Fi standard logo where A, B, G, and AC are different sub protocols, and these are only changes related to the speed and throughput. At the center, there are words are written Y, WI, and FI. So this is a standard logo for any Wi-Fi enabled device. If such logo is present, means that device or any client base or server base, if such logo is present, means you don't worry about whether this device is compliant or not. The presence of this logo itself tells that whatever the device you are wish to purchase or you are using, it follow the standards of Wi-Fi set by IEEE. So normally 802.11 standard addresses various parameters like coverage, speed, frequency of operation, security for network, traffic management, power management of devices, development of advanced encryption algorithm. This is specifically for security point of view. So already many protocols comes and currently used in current devices like AES, PKIP, and many more. Similarly, many authentication methods and protocols are used. So the first IEEE prepared the standard named as 802.11a in 1999, and the operating frequency is 5 gigahertz, and the maximum throughput rate is 54 Mbps, and range is 400 feet. Now next, again, another standard for different operating frequency, and it is recognized with name 802.11b. It comes again in the same year 1999, but operating frequency has changed 2.4 gigahertz, and throughput rate is reduced 11 Mbps, but range has slightly increased, that becomes 450 feet. Now another new standard comes in 2003 and named as 802.11g, and the operating frequency is 2.4 gigahertz, and maximum data throughput rate is 54 Mbps, and the maximum range is 450 feet. Now question arises in a mind on now what is the difference between 802.11b and 802.11g. The major difference is the number of protocols implemented on .11g are more secure as compared to .11b. Now another standard comes in market in 2009 having a name 802.11n, and it operates in both frequencies 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. and maximum throughput rate is 600 Mbps, and the coverage area range is 825 feet. Now in 2014, another standard with name 802.11 AC has come, and it is adopted in 2014 in a frequency band 5 gigahertz, and maximum throughput rate is 1 gigabits per second, and range goes to 1000 feet. Now another standard comes in 2015 with the name of 802.111 AC Wave 2. Again, operating frequency is same, but throughput rate is 3.47 gigabits per second, but range is very low. So this protocol normally used for NFC. Another standard 802.11 AD adopted in 2016, and the frequency range, operating frequency range is 60 gigahertz, and throughput rate is 7 gigabits per second. But again, range is less, that is 30 feet. So normally in toll plaza, in National Highway Authority of India implement automatic fare collection. So here these standards are used. Now in 2014, another standard 802.11 AF has come. It operates in both the frequency 2.4 and 5 gigahertz, whereas data rate is 26.7 megabits per second for 2.4 gigahertz operating frequency and 568.9 megabits per second for 500 gigahertz. And maximum range cover is 1000 meters, means up to 1 kilometer. If you want such a speed, you may prefer 802.11 AF. Now in 2016, once again, another standard 802.11 AH has come, and it operates in both frequency band 2.4 and 5 gigahertz, having a maximum data rate 347 megabits per second, and the range is 1000 meters. So presently commercial activities on industrial point of view, not for commercial point of view, from only business to business, mostly devices are working in 802.11 AH. The major thing is that the coverage is more, and whatever the speed they want, they achieve. So if you want to stream a video having 1080p standard or up to 4K, you not get any glitch if you are using a standard 802.11 AH. Now another high speed throughput we can achieve with the help of standard 802.11 AX. It adopted in 2019 with both frequency band 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. And the range is less, which is around 1000 feet. So now we discuss about security in Wi-Fi network. So now question arises, why Wi-Fi network should be secure? Because the range and the person want to use or to enter in the network through Wi-Fi, it is not easy to detect. Maybe unauthenticated person can join. So in LAN network or in wired network, we can easily detect by just check the LAN cables or Cat6 or Cat5 cable, but it is very difficult in Wi-Fi network. And you may know, when you log into any banking site, your credential may be compromised. So it is necessary that your Wi-Fi network should be secure, specifically when you involve in financial transactions, official sites, or when you are dealing with government records. To make these transactions secure, a high secure and efficient network is needed. So, lot of algorithms have been comes in market, and various industries come together and they form a alliance named as Wi-Fi Alliance. So earlier WPA standard has come, and after that WPA2, and recently WPA3 security standards are developed. And the main objective of these WPA, WPA2 and WPA3 to make Wi-Fi network more secure, and it is very hard to crack the security implemented with the help of WPA, WPA2 and WPA3. What WPA? WPA stands for the Wi-Fi Protected Access and developed by Wi-Fi Alliance. WPA defines handshake method for wireless router and Wi-Fi client device. And during handshake, whatever the information may communicate between them is in encrypted form. To decryption, already they have their private keys and public keys. So it is very difficult to crack. So now we discuss the security protocols in Wi-Fi network. The first one is open network, which is not secure. Anyone can enter in this protocol. These kind of protocols are implemented mainly in public area. After open network, another security protocol, WEP, stands for Wired Equivalent Security. At present, this protocol is not in use, and it is in the current scenario, it is very easy to crack WEP protocol. So I request to all participants, so please check at your end, in your college, in your workplace. If WEP protocol is implemented, you may immediately migrate to the newer one, at least WPA2. The reason is WEP is very weak secure protocol. Again, more modification has come and WEP 64 has been launched. But very soon, lot of vulnerabilities has been found, and Wi-Fi Alliance decided to not use WEP 64. WEP 128 comes once vulnerability found in WEP 64. But problem is that the key used in WEP are very low. So speed is very slow when we implement WEP 128. So another protocol comes with the name of WPA PSK. And in PSK, again, two sub-protocols has been implemented, that is PKIP and MIC. WPA PSK is, in short form, we can say also WPA1. And day by day research has come, and we once again found that WPA PSK with PKIP is vulnerable. So PKIP encryption protocol is no more in use, and WPA2 comes in picture. And it comes with another variant, that is MIC. MIC stands for Message Integrity Check. And the major role of Message Integrity Check to prevent altering and resending the data packet. So it is better you may use WPA PSK MIC. Now another option is available, that is AES. AES stands for Advanced Encryption Standard. It has three variants are available: AES 128, AES 192, and AES 256. 128, 192, 256 represent the size of the key, which is used to encrypt the plain text. Now, various vulnerability found again in WPA PSK. So now we move to WPA2. In WPA2, once again, it comes with TKIP, which is vulnerable with WEP, but in combination with WPA and TKIP, we got more security. Now, once again, there is another way of implementing the security, that is Radius server. So normally, the enterprise version of WPA2 PSK is called Radius server, and it is more protected from handshake interception because it uses additional company authorization procedures like proprietary certificate. The proprietary certificate is nothing but SSL layer implementation, secured socket layer. So more security has been implemented with the help of proprietary certificates for a particular company. Now, once again, when we move forward, vulnerabilities also found in WPA3. Now, WPA3 comes in picture. So currently, whatever the devices you are purchasing, you may first confirm that WPA3 is incorporated on that device or not. If WPA3 is not implemented, means the device you are purchasing is working in old technology. So maybe it is not useful for you. So once, if you want any new device, that may be WPA3 compatible. So WPA3 comes in picture in January 2018, and it works in BPP protocol. So WPA3 uses Wi-Fi device provisioning protocol. In device provisioning protocol, users use QR code or NFC tag to connect device on to the network. In WPA3, we are using Galosys or counter mode protocol, having encryption bit key size is 256. So it is in the current scenario, it is very difficult to crack 256-bit encryption. If we go for calculation, then just to guess one key. So if we calculate 2 to the power 128. So that becomes 10 to the power 38 zeros. It is a big number. If we go for 256-bit encryption, means 2 to the power 256 minus 2. In that case, 77 zeros come. In the earlier, only 38 zeros. Now, in the latest one, 77 zeros calculation. It's a huge number. It's a big number. It is very difficult to guess in the current scenario. I'm taking into account the computational power of the computers available in the market, because when we guess something, we make some algorithms or functions to guess keys, and that much calculation need time, and time is not so much available for hack any network. So it is a big task to crack WPA3 in the current scenario. Another thing that in Wi-Fi WPA3, we are using 384-bit hash message authentication mode. The size of the message we are sending is 384-bit, and in this 256-bit encryption key has been incorporated. Remaining keys are used for data, and that data may be used as a salt. Means any random information is used to encrypt. So instead of 256, we are using 384-bit hash message for authentication mode. So first, we can involve in to crack 10 to the power 77 zeros calculations. Once you succeeded, then you go for 384-bit hash message authentication method. The complexity is more as compared to the previous protocol. In the current scenario, these WPA3 is more secure as compared to WPA2 and WPA1. Now, as we increase the encryption bits, the throughput rate has been reduced. So, for home or personal mode, if you are not involving financial transactions, you may reduce to 128-bit encryption, and instead of 384-bit hash message authentication mode, you may use simultaneous authentication of equal handshake, which protect you against brute force attack. We can also incorporate forward secrecy by implementing a new set of encryption keys are generated every time when you establish a connection with any server. Every time a new encryption key comes into picture for calculation purpose. Now for enterprise mode, where financial transactions are there, we recommend you may use 192-bit encryption aligned with commercial national security algorithm suite or system. And you may use also forward secrecy. Now, W3AP replace the pre-shared key exchange with simultaneous authentication of it. Earlier, we have public and private key, but now user as well as server have no pre-shared key exchange. We are working on simultaneous authentication of it. right? So it is very difficult to mitigate any network where WPA3 with weak password has been implemented. And the best thing is in WPA3, QR code is implemented. So English text along with numerals are not shown anywhere. It is represent with the help of QR code. So as you know, it is very difficult to read QR code and then you can implement. Now, there are 4 features of WPA3. The first one is more secure handshake like SAE protocol. We are replacing Wi-Fi protected setup with the help of device provisioning protocol. And for encryption, we are using opportunistic wireless encryption and individualized data protection. For bigger session, we may go for bigger keys up to 192 bit during authentication passage. How attack has been done. So here you observe that internet is provided with wireless access point and somebody tried to make some transaction. And this hacker is also connected by any means with this wireless access point. And there are various software available in the market, free of cost, like Wireshark. So what is going on? The bit strings, the patterns you can monitor and observe. For this, if this user wish to interact with internet and make some financial transactions, this one laptop or a workstation of hacker may monitor what is going on and capture all the data. If you not implement encryption's technique, your simple text is exposed to both of these, and they can disable you from the network, and they act as a that I am the real person, and they block your transactions on internet. Up to this, any question from any participant, you may please unmute yourself and ask. Okay. Now I am continuing the types of attack on Wi-Fi network. So now how attack has been occurred on Wi-Fi network. The first one is rogue wireless device. It is nothing but an unauthorized Wi-Fi device added onto the network. And it is very easy to do it, that once you get a wired line, you can connect and start your wireless device, act as an access point. Anyone can connect to the network and then compromise your system if you are a part of that network.
स्टार्ट हुई उनसे लड़ाई चालू हुई तो यूपीआई बुलाई इनको बाहर निकाला भी मैंने कहा है बड़ा हमने कहा आप ही जाते हैं इनको बुला कल टाइप कर रहे ना हो ही गया निपट ही गया खत्म हो गया अब वो वाला फॉर्मेट वर्ड में कर रहे हैं अब यहाँ से हम उसको मेल से ले जाएंगे पूरी फॉर्मेटिंग खराब हो जाएगी है वहां पर एक तो इन्वर्टर नहीं है कोई काम करो तो वो चीज टाइम लगता है पूरा हो जाएगा केबिन में हो गया था प्रिंसिपल साहब के मैडम
I request to all participants, please mute yourself. If you have any doubt or query, then only you can unmute yourself. Now, another one way of attack on Wi-Fi network is peer-to-peer attack. In peer-to-peer attack, devices are connected to the same access point, and there is no need to authenticate from the central server. Whatever you are typing, it may monitored by the system which are connected to the same access point. Now, another type of attack is client isolation. Means you are connected, but sometimes you observe that websites are not open in a particular system, but websites are open in other systems which are connected to the same access point. If such situation arises, means your system become compromised. For this, do not shut down your PC. You may immediately remove the power of that system. Next way of attack on Wi-Fi network is eavesdropping. When data is transferred between client and the access point, and someone also connected and using a network protocol analyzer named Wireshark or Nmap, whatever you are typing, if it is not encrypted, other person can understand what are you doing. So always use encryption while you are connecting to any access point. Next is authentication attack. Now I request to all of you, please participate in this activity. You may just type in your chat. Don't type your passwords. I'm just making some quiz. I'm just asking some questions and you just answer on chat. Now the first question is, suppose you have some login on Facebook or Gmail or any banking site. I have asked few questions and you just answer yes or no. That's all. Don't type anything. You just type only yes and no. The people having password whose first letter is capital. Those who have a password having first is capital and it is a letter. Now next is In your password, the last is a number. Next, the last, second last or third last is a special character, and that special character is at the rate. Now next is the length of the password is same or plus one as defined in the website. Suppose in SBI, they define that the password length should be 8. So your password length should also be 8 or 9. If such situation correct, then you may type Y, otherwise you may type no. Now you may type yes if password have name, place, or thing. Whatever password you have set, in which the password consists name, place, or a thing which you like most. Now I awarded Padam Shri Award to those participants who not participate. The reason is that if any person performs such activity, why are you participating? If you are participating in such activities, you can tell the password. The first letter is capital, means person can guess. Only it restricts its search for only 26 alphabets, which are capital in nature. My next question is, the last is number. If you say yes, I definitely sure that that number is 1, 2, 3 or date of birth year. Maximum time it is date of birth year. Right? So this way, by analyzing the human tendency, hackers may guess your password and they compromise your system and you lose your credentials. Once you lose your credentials, your finance, loss may be occur. I request to all participants, don't ever participate in such activities. I am performing you just to check out how much aware you about the security. If you participate, means you lose. Now, how many participants have Gmail account? Please type yes or no. I think 99% say yes. Huh? And you may attach or integrate your mobile with Gmail account. If such activity is occur, that means your system or your mobile is not in your control. What are you doing? Where you are going? Everything is monitored, and you are working for Google without getting salary from Google. You are working as an employee of Google. If you are moving from one place to another place, your GPS is on. If you press button GPS off, that doesn't mean that your GPS is off. Your GPS is always on. Your mic is always on. Even if you shut down your mobile is still on. Today you perform some activity, you just make a alarm, set an alarm. After 10 minutes, just set an alarm after 10 minutes, and then you shut down your mobile. If your mobile is shut down, that means that alarm never arises. But if you shut down your mobile, still alarm has generated. How it is possible? It is only possible when your system is still working. So when you press a power button to shut down your mobile, basically it is not shut down. It is gone in hibernate mode. Means power consumption is less. Your video camera is off, but your mic is on. Your GPS is on, and remaining processings are on. Right? So I request to all participants, never ever integrate your Gmail account on your mobile. Right? Another way of attack on Wi-Fi network is MAC spoofing. MAC spoofing is possible once I know your MAC address. Then I will use that MAC address by disabling the MAC address of mine and using some software. If wireless access point want to authenticate me, because in the current scenario, maximum wireless access point have a MAC filter. Avoid or to bypass MAC filtering, I can choose the MAC address which is in whitelist. This way, MAC spoofing is possible. Another way of Wi-Fi network is wireless hijacking. As you know, when you start your mobile and when you on, you see a lot of SSIDs which are in visible mode. So if you make a brute force attack, if you make a dictionary attack, and if as in the activity you observe that many out of 64, around 40 people say yes for every question. It means 44 people becomes compromise. And once compromise, I open your Facebook account where photographs of your colleagues are available, your relatives are available. I target them. And I got a list, and I able to track more, and I able to know more passwords of your dependent or your colleagues or your family member or relative. Another one is denial of services. Means when you are connected to the internet, but you're not able to open a particular website. This is an example of denial of service. Another, which is most prominent in the current scenario, is social engineering. Frequently, you are receiving a call, sir, I am calling from on behalf of State Bank of India, and you are one of the luckiest person who selected for our eminent credit card holder, and we offered you free of cost credit card in which the limit you got 5 lakh rupees. And by hearing this, you say, okay, I have no problem. Some people say, no, I'm not interested. So those people who involved may become compromised. Cybercrime has occurred. And the major thing is that in India, not so much strict rule has been implemented in related to cyber. Now I am taking one example. This is one Wi-Fi Cisco having range MAP 4410 wireless N access point with power over Ethernet. So select SSID. You have a choice to make your SSID name. Then which encryption technique you wish to implement. WPA personal, WPA2, WPA enterprise, WPA2 enterprise X, WPA2 enterprise mix, radius or decimal. Then if I go for WEP, then it asks the authentication type. So open type. Then if I go for WPA personal, then WPA algorithm, which algorithm you prefer, TPIP or AES? The best one is AES. Then you may set the password, which is nothing but a pre-shared key. Then in WPA2 personal mix, both WPA algorithm has been implemented. And if you go for WPA enterprises, then it asks the radius server IP address and the port number from in which you make authentication. So more security has come if you may implement WPA enterprises, because additional authentication in the name of radius server has come. And once again, whatever the wireless access point, mostly the default username and password of any wireless access point are admin or admin password. So you should change the passwords of all wireless access points in your office or in your colleges or institute, because default password anyone can enter and change the configuration. Then another thing is that while you are accessing the access point configurations, you may implement HTTPS. So more security has implemented. And you have a choice to implement SSL certificate. So you may purchase digital certificate, or you can say SSL certificate, install it So more security has implemented. So this is up to the security in Wi-Fi. Any question you may please ask. Unmute yourself and you may ask.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, myself Madan Mishra, and I want to ask one question. That whenever we are having a ransomware attack, what is the measurement we have to do after ransomware attack, sir?
After ransomware, there is no chance to you just to give ransom.
Yes, sir. We don't have any chance to give ransom, but what measurements we have to do after the ransomware attack, sir?
No, after ransomware, you have no choice. Before ransomware attack, you have to make a firewall implementation. Using firewall implementation, you can allow only authenticate connections from authenticate servers only. You never ever visit any websites which for you may don't know about that. I'm just giving you an example. It is not necessary that you may first buy the hardware-based firewall. Hardware-based firewall are very costly. So just for the time being, you may just, if you have a Windows firewall, a Windows operating system, then you may simply go to the control panel. Then you will select Windows Defender Firewall. In Windows Defender Firewall, you may just click an option has come, right? So you may turn on Windows Defender Firewall in both private as well as public network. So mostly people not done this, and they becomes.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, suppose whatever be the attack provided by that attacker is based on certain algorithm. Can we are having whether we are having some decryption algorithm for some this sort of attacks?
No, actually, hackers never ever use any algorithms. Standard algorithms they are not using. They have their developed their own concept. They have their own functionalities. Because if they are using the standard signatures based, so in that case, automatically antivirus or total security solutions may recognize and simply.
Okay, sir. Suppose sir, he has used some decryptor as a password, sir. Sir, suppose he has used some password to decrypt to encrypt that particular website or some material. So whether we are not able to compromise that password using brute force attack or something, some type of measurements that we are having.
No. Actually, suppose I'm writing one program. I'm just taking one example that multiplication of two numbers. I'm just taking a simple example. So what do you think? If I wish that everybody should write a program on C language, what actually you observe? What type of output you are getting from your participants or trainees? You see that they simply call the io.h or math.h header file, right? And then they simply make two variables. Either they hard code it, or they can simply and get input from the users, and then they simply make a variable c is equal to a into b, like that. Okay? And then simply display the output. 99% people can do this. But what hacker can do? Hacker never ever use math.h file. They write their own mathematics formulation. They not use standard files. They simply, if you say that they want to multiply the two numbers, they use successive addition. For division, they use successive subtraction. Now, again, there is a method that you heard that left bit shift and right bit shift. If you are using a method left bit shift, means you are doubling the number. Every time when you shift a left bit, once, whatever the number you have, that becomes double. If you are moving a right bit, then it becomes just half. So different hackers can have a different approach. That is why it is very difficult for firewall point of view, for antivirus point of view, for total endpoint security point of view. They never ever detect hackers. The main thing is that if you are connected with the internet, the TCP/IP protocol is implemented. So in IP layer, sorry, network layer, IP protocol is there. At transport layer, TCP protocol is there. So IP layer, there is no security is possible because IP address you can change. And it is very, very easy to identify using Wireshark software. Major break or major barrier you can implement it on transport layer because it is a permission based and only 65,535 ports are available. So what you do, you simply go to the all control panel, go to the Window Defender firewall, go to the advanced settings. And when you go to the inside settings, there are inbound rules and outbound rules. Inbound rules means if anyone want to make a request for you. So here you observe that Microsoft link. Can anyone guess what is Microsoft link? Anyone? What is Microsoft link? Microsoft Outlook, Skype. Skype is a video streaming, but are you using? How many times you are using? Only 5 to 10% people can use. So what we do, we simply select it, right click it and disable it. Or we can go for properties, or we can allow the connection if it is secure and block the connection. So we simply block the connection. So what that, if any hacker wants to enter using a port which is used default by Skype, it hacker never ever able to enter this. Now another is Candy Crush Saga. There is a game. Mostly people you are playing on mobile, but this Candy Crush Saga is also implemented, available in Windows 10 or Windows 8. So mostly people play, but are you playing Candy Crush Saga on desktop? If you are not playing, you simply right click, disable rule or go to the properties and block. But if you allow the connections, hacker able to enter in your system. Because only once you connected to any LAN, WAN, MAN, TCP/IP protocol is implemented. IP protocol based on IP addresses and TCP protocol based on ports. 65,535 protocols are there. 021024 protocols for port numbers are well versed, and any ambiguity may occur up to 021023. Firewall or antivirus can handle easily, but up to that, all ports are open. Anyone can run at any port. It is not mandatory that any designated port for a particular service. Suppose if you have exposure of MySQL, so MySQL using a default port 3306, but it is not mandatory. It is not a standardized product. Anyone can use 3306 for other services also. So it is not possible that you may secure. It is only thing, you just make your system hardening. You implement as much as complex encryption you can implement. But if hacker have a workstation, if hacker have a terabyte based computation power, it can he or she can easily break your system. But he or she not interested in your system. If you have a crorepati or arabpati, then only they interested in you. Otherwise, if you have a lakhpati or hajarpati, then nobody interested, right? So if you want more security, you may simply go to the advanced setting, implement the outbound rules and inbound rules. And you check frequently that what type of any software like Cortana. Can anyone guess what is Cortana? Anyone? So Cortana, I think no participant can use. So simply disable it. So this way, you can allow only 2 sports which you can use. Otherwise, you may simply block. Right, sir? And similarly, you can also implement monitoring. Means a particular port you are using, so you may block that. Right? Now, any question?
सर सर्विसेज को क्या ब्लॉक करना ही एक सोल्यूशन है? अगर मान लीजिए हैकर हमला कर ही दे रहा है, हम अपना कोई ना कोई साधन तो रखें जिससे हम बचाव कर सकें, नहीं तो हमारी डिक्रिप्शन एल्गोरिथम तो उसके सामने फेल हो जा रही है।
डिक्रिप्शन देखिए, आप जहां तक मैं समझता हूँ कि आज में जितने भी इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं, मतलब आईआईटी की भी मैं बात करूँ, आईएम्स की बात करूँ मैं, आपको क्या लगता है वहां पर किस लेवल का कंप्यूटर मौजूद होगा? i7 ज्यादा से ज्यादा 8 GB रैम या इससे ज्यादा कुछ? इससे ज्यादा है तो आप बताइए। लेकिन
नहीं, अभी तो लेटेस्ट कॉन्फ़िगरेशन तो यही है सर।
नहीं, आप मान लीजिए आपने आज 2 महीना पहले अगर लैपटॉप या डेस्कटॉप खरीदा तो आप i9 तक जाएंगे। i9 11 जनरेशन और 32 GB रैम, राइट? इतना ही तो जाएंगे ना सर। लेकिन जो हैकर है वो तो सर ये i7 i9 तो यूज ही नहीं करते, वो तो जीपीयू प्रोसेसर यूज करते हैं जिसके अंदर आपके 256 कोर्स होते हैं। आपका जो i9 है उसके अंदर मैक्सिमम आपके 12 कोर्स हैं। तो आपकी जो कैलकुलेशंस होंगी वो मैक्सिमम 12 कैलकुलेशंस, 12 मल्टीटास्क, 12 टास्क कैन साइमल्टेनियसली अकर। लेकिन जो हैकर है उसके पास तो जो जीपीयू प्रोसेसर है और वो एक जीपीयू प्रोसेसर पे काम नहीं करता, वो करीब करीब मिनिमम 4-5 जीपीयू प्रोसेसर देता, मींस थाउजेंड्स ऑफ टास्क हैज बीन अकर साइमल्टेनियसली। और आपका जो इंटेल i9 है दैट इज बेस्ड ऑन सिस, कॉम्प्लेक्स इंस्ट्रक्शन सेट ऑफ कमांड, और दूसरा जो आपका जीपीयू प्रोसेसर्स हैं वो आपका रिड्यूस इंस्ट्रक्शन सेट ऑफ कमांड्स पे काम करते हैं। यानी कि अगर मैं एक जंप कमांड की बात करूं, अगर 8086 प्रोसेसर आप लोग चूंकि बहुत ही स्टैंडर्डाइज्ड वे में पढ़ा रहे हैं, तो आप देखते हैं उसके अंदर करीब 134-136 कमांड्स हैं, और हर कमांड में जो सीपीयू की साइकिल्स हैं दैट आर डिफरेंट, और मैक्सिमम जो क्लॉक साइकिल्स जो हैं वो आपकी जंप कमांड में सबसे ज्यादा यूज होते हैं, दैट इज अराउंड 16 और 32, राइट? तो अगर मेरा 3.6 गीगाहर्ट्ज या 4 गीगाहर्ट्ज का माइक्रो प्रोसेसर है, एक जंप इंस्ट्रक्शन को एग्जीक्यूट करने के लिए 4 गीगाहर्ट्ज डिवाइडेड बाय 16, तो उसकी कंप्यूटेशन पावर कितनी स्लो हो गई? 16 टाइम्स स्लो हो गई। वहीं मैं अगर एक जीपीयू प्रोसेसर की बात करता हूं जो कि रिस्क बेस्ड है, तो उसके अंदर आपकी 120 कमांड्स हैं, और 120 कमांड में से 108 या 106 कमांड्स, only 3 or 4 commands need 2 cycles. Remaining all cycles are running in a single clock cycle. So अगर उसकी स्पीड 2 गीगाहर्ट्ज भी है या 3 गीगाहर्ट्ज भी है, तो सारी कमांड्स आपकी 1.1 गीगाहर्ट्ज या 2 गीगाहर्ट्ज में एग्जीक्यूट हो जाएगी। जबकि आप लेटेस्ट विंडोज इंटेल बेस्ड i9 11 जनरेशन 32 GB रैम आप ले रहे हैं, स्टिल योर सिस्टम इज वेरी स्लो। रास्पबेरी पाई शायद आपने सुना हो, वो आपका क्वाड कोर है, रिस्क बेस्ड है, 1.5 गीगाहर्ट्ज है। उबुंटू 20 अगर आप उसमें इंस्टॉल करते हैं, इट नीड्स ओनली 9 to 10 seconds टू बूट, और i9 सिस्टम आपका 32 GB है, इट्स नीड अराउंड 20 to 22 seconds टू बूट। तो यही आप लगा लीजिए कि एक इतना हाई फाई सिस्टम है लेकिन उसकी प्रोसेसिंग स्पीड स्लो है, क्योंकि इट बेस्ड ऑन सिस्क बेस, और जो आपका रिस्क बेस्ड है वो आपका एक कोई भी एक कमांड को एग्जीक्यूट करना है उसे एक सिंगल क्लॉक साइकिल। तो आपके जो मेजर जो इश्यूज है वो है रिसोर्सेज जो हमारे पास अवेलेबल हैं। आप जो भी परचेज करना चाहते हैं अपने इंस्टीट्यूट के लिए, आप इंटेल ही परचेज कर सकते हैं। आप जीपीयू प्रोसेसर परचेज करेंगे, बहुत सारी आपको जस्टिफिकेशन प्रोवाइड करने पड़ेंगे वाई यू नीड जीपीयू प्रोसेसर। आज मैं लैपटॉप की बात करूंगा, 99.9% जो लैपटॉप्स अवेलेबल है उनमें इंटेल है या एएमडी है, किसी में भी जीपीयू प्रोसेसर रास्पबेरी पाई नहीं है। जबकि आप रास्पबेरी पाई अगर आप परचेज करते हैं उसकी कॉस्ट जो है वो 8 GB रैम के साथ अगर आप लेते हैं तो इसकी जो कॉस्ट है दैट इज अराउंड लेस देन 10,000। बट पीपल नॉट प्रेफर टू वर्क ऑन रास्पबेरी पाई, दे प्रेफर टू वर्क ऑन इंटेल। दिस इज अ मेजर break, but hackers only use RISC-based microprocessor. Anyone else? Anyone have any questions? So I think everybody agree. And any questions to related to wireless security and wireless protocols? Any questions you may ask as we will wind up the session. So thanks to all of you for your kind attentions and the patience to listen me carefully. And I'm also thankful that all participants are very interactive during the entire session. Before leaving, I request you to please simply type yes. So attendance has been made finalized. And to submit your reputed well-known institute, IRDT. Thanks to IRDT once again for faith on AirTTC and allow us to conduct training on advanced networking.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, Neeraj sir, for conducting such a wonderful and informative session. I was actually connected to the session most of the time.
Okay.
So it was very practical and information and security based. And it will be an eye-opener session for all our participants who have joined this session. And they will also share this information with their colleagues and other staff also. So thank you so much, sir, for conducting such a informative session. Thank you, sir.
I have one more request that Government of India allow offline training. And if you come here, then we will give you training in such a manner that 80% we perform practical sessions and 20% only theory sessions. But because of as we are in a public domain, we are not in a position to show you all things in this portal. So there are some foundations, laws are there. So we have a cybersecurity lab which is isolated from outside world. So we will, on that we can perform some practical point of view, and whatever we will try to explain you, we will show you in practical if you come here for attending the offline training. You learn more rather than in online session as compared to offline. Now I request to all participants, you may just type yes on chat session and leave one by one. So I wind up the session.
Sir, we hope we'll conduct offline trainings with the help of ALTC in offline mode for the faculty of Polytechnic. So in future, we are looking forward to sponsor our Polytechnic faculty in ALTC for conducting such wonderful offline training so that more practical knowledge they can gain also.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you. I request to all participants who make their attendance may please leave. So I close the session.